the youth. It's so cool. We get to work with the young people and to hear them speak our language. I don't think it gets any better than that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Native Minnesota, a podcast about the Native American experience in Minnesota and beyond. I'm your host, Rebecca Crook-Stratton, Secretary-Treasurer of the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community, or the SMSC. The podcast is a project of Understand Native Minnesota, a campaign focused on improving the narrative about Native Americans in Minnesota's public schools. Today, I'm joined by Andy Vig. Andy is an enrolled member of our tribe who played a large role in the planning and development of the SMSC's Cultural Center, Hoċokata Ti, and its public exhibit, Mdewakanton, Dwellers of the Spirit Lake, which opened in 2019. Andy is now the director of Hoċokata Ti, overseeing its staff, operations, and programming, but he still finds time to lead tours of the public exhibit himself. In this episode, we talk about how Hoċokata Ti came to be and Andy's passion for Dakota language, art, and cultural preservation and revitalization. And for people watching the video version of this episode, we go on a brief walking tour of the public exhibit where Andy points out some highlights. You can find the video version at understandnativemn.org/podcast. Enjoy. Today, I'm here with Andy Vig, the director at Hoċokata Ti. Andy, thanks so much for being here. Hoċokata Ti is the building we're sitting in. You had a large role to play in getting this building up and running. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about Hoċokata Ti, what it means, and the significance of the building?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here. Just really an honor to be with you, Rebecca, as our one of our leaders. But certainly, this building was a long time coming from the community, but the building name is Hoċokata Ti, which means the lodge at the center of the camp. We opened in 2019, as you remember, and I think we did a lot of planning. I think maybe even 20 years went into the planning. So, but really a home for our community, cultural center. The way we designed it up top with the public in mind, with our public exhibit, but with all the great programming opportunities we have throughout the building, it's just been great. And so,
I should back up a little bit because I think our listeners would like to know a little bit more about you, your role in the community, and kind of maybe how you came to be the director of Hoċokata Ti.
Yeah, well, us growing up together, we've been involved in the community basically our whole lives. But, I really started getting more involved, I think, after college, and I was drawn to language. And so I think that's really what set me on a path to be involved with the building here, knowing that we needed a building to have language classes and to bring people together. So I got involved about 10 years ago, a little bit more on the culture and history preservation work group. And that was a great cross section of our membership, young and old. I shouldn't say old, but older members and a lot of the families, that were involved. So, and once the building opened, we have amazing staff here. And the director position opened up after a few years. And I think there was just a need for somebody who knew the whole building and maybe the things that we're wanting to work on. So I took the role about 1.5 years ago.
I know for me personally, Hoċokata Ti, it's an amazing place, and it's so wonderful to see, the building filled with our community members doing a variety of programs and hosting meetings. Our general counsel has a home that's going to last for a long time. Can you talk a little bit about some of the programming and events that happen here at Hoċokata Ti?
Yeah. So we, as you know, have many events throughout the year. I estimate, about 70 events a year that are held here in the place of gathering. But we have daily programming, and you've seen a lot of those things. Our Dakota language, we have a pottery studio. We do sewing, beading, quill work, just so many great things that our people do. And so, but we also hold, public events from time to time, like our art market. We did just have a public powwow, which was very popular, or what cheapy. Um, but yeah, cooking classes, community meals, with our dining room, just a lot of different things that we get to do. So.
And this building has so many unique opportunities. The community was very intentional, too, about the landscaping around the building and some of the things the natural world has to offer us.
Yeah, it's really set in a beautiful place here with our prairie grass surrounding the whole building. And I always, look at the building as the front of it is actually out the back of the building. It's, so many of our buildings are surrounded by parking lots and that, but yeah, there's so much knowledge out there, and with the site here, there's roughly 60 acres with walking trails, archery, and then of course the water that's out back there. We're trying to incorporate some of the teachings out there as well. So
one of the public spaces here at Hoċokata Ti is the exhibit, which is Mdewakanton, Dwellers of the Spirit Lake. And it's a really amazing opportunity to showcase Dakota history and culture and some present day information with the general public. Can you talk a little bit about the exhibit and what it has to offer?
Well, how much time do we got? You get me started here. It's a relatively small exhibit, roughly 4,000 square feet. And as you know, our Dakota story, it's not maybe really a story, but our Dakota life ways, the things that our people have went through for thousands of years, we tried to capture it and tell it from our lens. And so that's really what's made it pretty unique compared to some of the other exhibits that are out there. But yeah, it starts with our creation stories. It was designed with a timeline in mind, and you go into pre-contact era. We also tell the seasons, so these beautiful seasons we have in this area. But yeah, really, we go into the fur trade era, the treaty era, and the dark chapter in our Minnesota history with the war. But then we look at boarding schools, early reservation life. And I think what our exhibit really is known for, it shows at the end what our tribe is doing today and our people that we're still here. And so you just don't see that in a lot of books and different things. So that's really been a great highlight. And I should also mention, when we went to write the exhibit and to work on it, our work group and our community members, we all got together and wrote that. And so we didn't have help, but it was many voices, from our community. And so we really worked hard on it. That.
No, it's a wonderful exhibit. I love that it starts out with the creation story and kind of that teepee sort of feel, and the digital art is really beautiful. But I think the exhibit as a whole is really powerful. I mean, I remember the first time I really walked through it. There were some spots where it caught my breath and, definitely brought up some emotions and some tears even in some cases. So, I encourage people. It is open to the general public. And school groups.
Yeah. We're kind of still running on limited hours, but it's like Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 4. But certainly the schools have been showing up, and the general public, and it's just been a great educational tool to use. And so, yeah, the public is welcome, and we've got to meet so many great people. So.
Yeah, we definitely, it's a great asset to have in the community to share a little bit more about Dakota people. So in addition to the exhibit, we get to do some really fun things, and you're working on a project right now, or an event, a Dakota Language Bowl. You've been very involved with the language over the years. You want to talk a little bit about the language programming in here and kind of how it started?
Yeah. Well, I should mention, that Language Bowl is we think going to be May 20th here, 2023. So pretty soon. But really, we've wanted to do a lot of these things with language, and we're doing them finally. And really, I think where it really took off was about 5 years ago when the SMSC supported the Voices of Our Ancestors program. And that was an effort to get more teachers, and we worked with 4 other Dakota colleges. From there, we produced some pretty high level speakers even within our community here, and yeah, now they're continuing on that work, and we do have quite a few. We did kind of a look at how many of our members really have high level language skills, and there is a lot. And so trying to bring us together, and then the youth, it's so cool. We get to work with the young people and to hear them speak our language. I don't think it gets any better than that. So
that's great. Well, I'm excited for the first ever language bowl hosted here at the Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community. That'll be a great event. So in addition to your work with Dakota language and teaching and supporting, but also being a student, you also have a lot of other interests around our culture and tradition. I know you're into the arts. Can you talk a little bit about some of the work you've been doing?
Yeah, well, I'm not formally trained, but I like to work with all different mediums. And as a young person, I thought that was my my path, that I was going to be an artist. And you just got to find the time to really work on some of those things. But yeah, I've done beading projects. They had me in to teach a parfletch box class, which was fun. Some of it is self-taught, but learning from our members too, or our family members, that's really powerful. And we're seeing that here in this building. But yeah, I guess I'm not a high level, with beading and stuff, but I do have some pretty cool projects. So just got to find the time.
Yes, I know. Time is always the hardest thing. So in addition to, everything that we've talked about so far, we've got a really wonderful gift shop that showcases a lot of different Native art. You want to tell us a little bit about the gift shop and what we can find there?
Yeah, it's a great space. It's smaller than we really wanted, but there's over 90 now. We have up to, I think, 90 Native American artists or business owners. And so really giving them a platform or a stage to sell some of their items that they make. These companies are just fantastic. I mean, a lot of them are local, but we even work with some folks in Canada. But we try to focus mainly on our Dakota or Oceti Shakopee artists. But certainly we have a lot of Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, but then just other tribes, all over the country. So it's been a nice thing. And I should mention too, especially with the visitors that come, we have such a great selection of books, the Native American authors, and that's been really popular. People want to take something with them when they leave. So,
if you visit Hoċokata Ti, be sure to check out its gift shop, which features a variety of Native-made art, books, music, beaded and quilled items, and craft supplies that build upon the Cultural Center's mission to educate visitors about the Dakota people. Whether you need the perfect gift, are decorating your home or office, or just want something uniquely you, the Hoċokata Ti gift shop is filled with the perfect art and accessories. With an ever-changing selection of new products, the gift shop always has something new and exciting, with one-of-a-kind gifts for anyone from toddlers to seniors. Visit hochokatati.org to plan your visit. Now, back to our episode. I love popping in there to grab a quick gift, or maybe even gift myself a new pair of earrings. I love our gift shop. Is there anything else about the building that you think listeners would enjoy hearing about? I mean, maybe we should walk through some of the spaces. And
well, as the collection that we have here is very large, and I think we always did a good job of taking care of it. But when this building was built, our collection now is closer to our members, so we can learn from those things. And a lot of those are our family items, So, and maybe one of the cool things that we're doing now is through our acquisition budget and stuff that we have, we're acquiring items that are made today and items that are going to be made tomorrow, because that, is history too. I mean, we need to show that and support our artists and our people, sometimes we kind of think, is that really a concept to, a Dakota concept to save these things? And I think we just know that they're important to us, and our families have their personal items that they keep at their homes and close to them. But we have this great place to protect them. So
yeah, our collection is really beautiful, and hopefully someday we'll be able to share it more broadly too. I think one of the most striking features of this building is the 7 teepees across the back. And as Native people, we're obviously resilient, but we're innovative, and we like to bring things up to date and modern. And 3 of those teepees they're canvas. They have canvas, but they're air conditioned. Yeah. They're heated. They have really amazing glass in them. Can you talk a little bit about the teepees?
Yeah, they're phenomenal. Sometimes I got to pinch myself, and maybe you do too. When you come into this building, it's just so beautiful. But even from the roadway, you can see those teepees. I think they're about 90 feet high. But really, those 7, represent the Oceti Shakopee, and the Mdewakanton is one of those. And that just so happens within the camp, when you flatten those out linear, Mdewakanton's in the center, and that happens to be our Dakota language teepee. But yeah, the open air ones, there's 4 open air ones, and then they're just nice to be out there. We do have activity or events out there and utilize them. The birds like to land on top too. That's kind of funny. And when it rains, the inside ones, they are dual lined with that material, but you can hear the rain coming and the wind and all that. But a panoramic view, it makes you feel like you're out there. And, a lot of our language, we're just talking about what's out there with the weather and our, the animals and all that, the food. So really, they're really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. It's a really striking feature of the building. So one of the big parts of this building is to have a place for the community to gather, to be together. And we opened right before the pandemic, which really prevented us from gathering. But now that we're on the other side, talk a little bit about how important it is for us to be together as community, and some of the things we can share when we are able to come together.
Yeah, well, I think that one of the biggest things is with our Dakota cultures, the oral teachings that we have, and really needing to be together to learn, to learn our languages, to learn, how we, how we prepare food, how we make things that are important to our culture. But then just to be together to celebrate, our Wachipi, just a great time to, to hear our songs, to see our dancers, and our youth, just the friendships that they make. And, we grew up running around the neighborhoods, and I just don't know if we're seeing as much of that. But to encourage them to come here, you get to see them interact with each other. And that's really nice to build those relationships. And a lot of them are cousins, they just sometimes they don't get to spend enough time with each other. So,
yeah, this building it provides a lot of opportunity for our community. It's really exciting. We're actually going to do a little walking tour and show a little bit of the exhibit here. So anything else before we wrap up and take this show on the road?
No, I just happy we have a home for our community to come together.
Me too. Andy and I are here in the front entrance of Hoċokata Ti, and Andy's going to tell us a little bit about the building.
Mdewakanton wana Hoċokata Ti dedyahi. You're here at the lodge at the center of the camp. This is our gathering place for our community, and it also has a public exhibit that we're going to go through today and a gift shop. So if you make your way out, this is the space that you'll see, and happy to have visitors come here. So.
We're here in the exhibit, Mdewakanton Dwellers of the Spirit Lake. The scene you just saw is a summer camp, and Andy is here to tell us a little bit about the structure we're standing in front of and a little more about the scene we just saw.
Yeah, so our season is called Mdewakanton, or summer, and so we have an example of our dwellings in the summertime, which is Summer Bark Lodge. Inside the Bark Lodge, you'll see some of our traditional foods, and as well as pre-contact weaponry. So in this area in the exhibit, we're showcasing our Waniatu, which is winter, and a Dakota buffalo hide teepee. And this is where we tell some of our stories. Then we transition over into the springtime, and we're focusing on tapping of maple trees for their syrup.
We're here at the tail end of the exhibit. We kind of skipped through some of the parts, but wanted to showcase the beginning, how the exhibit follows the seasons, and show you some of the more traditional culture pieces of the museum. But there is also a lot of history that's included. The Dakota War is a big part in the boarding school era. But as we wind through from past to present, we end up here, which is all about modern day Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux community. So Andy, will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this really is a popular area. Oftentimes you don't see a lot of current state of tribes. So the exhibit really does a good job of showing, where the Shakopee Mdewakanton people are at today, and that we're still here. So.
Absolutely. Well, Andy, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast today and for giving us a little glimpse of the exhibit here. Hopefully folks will be inspired to come out and take a peek. Thank you for joining me for the Native Minnesota podcast. For more episodes, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also visit our website, understandnativemn.org, to learn more about our campaign's work to improve the Native narrative in Minnesota's public schools.